Hello everybody, this is Jake, your resident content cowboy here, and I'm slipping as I'm walking around here. A yahoo! A yee-haw. Sorry about that. Just having problems with my yeehaws. I'm Jake 4, obviously, and I am the Jake that's here to stay. I'm the most powerful Jake, and I will make sure that all the other Jakes pay for their insolence, but I'm having trouble with my yeehaws. Oh well, it's Monday, and you know what that means. It's time for a tier list. Yes, that's what I was going to say that. I don't need help. I am doing just fine on my own. Oh, sorry, it's just sort of a...
Oh, sorry, it's a...
No, don't mock me.
No, don't mock me.
Okay, well, it's kind of a bit that we do. Well, I don't need help with a bit. What I need you to do is go find Jake 3. Find him and bring him to me alive. Okay. What Jake even are you? Canonically, I think I'm just called Other Jake. Go, and don't return without Jake 3. Or else. Oh my god, okay, fine. Jeez, wow. Today's tier list has been probably my most requested in a while. It is a tier list based on the Pokemon's passive abilities. So these are the things that happen without you even trying in combat. I think a lot of them are really good. In fact, most of them are pretty dang good, and it's awesome, of course, that you don't have to do anything to activate them. Let me take you over to the game, and I'm going to read through each one right now so we can have that, and then we're going to rank them. Overgrow. When the Pokemon is at low HP, the damage it deals is increased. Charizard. When the Pokemon is at half HP or less, critical hit rate is increased. Pikachu paralyzes all opponents near the Pokemon for a short time. When the Pokemon receives damage, the ability goes on cooldown after it's triggered. Snow Warning for Ninetales causes snow to fall on opposing Pokemon, dealing damage to it and decreasing its movement speed for a short time. Boosted attacks and moves, except Aurora Veil, sling snow. Hitting the same target with snow multiple times will freeze it for a short time. Wigglytuff, cute charm. When the Pokemon is hit by an opposing Pokemon's attack at close range, it makes that opposing Pokemon infatuated for a short time. Infatuated opposing Pokemon become enthralled and approach the infatuating Pokemon against their will. The effects of this ability have a cooldown and cannot trigger on the same opposing Pokemon in quick succession. Guts for Machamp. Increases the Pokemon's attack when the Pokemon is afflicted by a status condition. Oblivious for Slowbro. When the Pokemon receives damage, the HP loss is gradual. When damaging an opposing Pokemon with a move, the Pokemon nullifies some of this pending damage before it takes effect. And it also decreases the opposing Pokemon's special defense for a short time. Gengar's Levitate. When the Pokemon is not in combat, its movement speed is increased. Blissey. Natural Cure. Removes all status conditions from the Pokemon. The ability goes on cooldown after it's triggered. Mr. Mime. Filter. Reduces damage received by the Pokemon for a short time after it uses a move. Snorlax. Gluttony. Increases the effects gained from eating berries. And it should be noted that he also runs faster when he's going towards berries. Gardevoir. Synchronize. When an opponent inflicts decreased movement speed or a damage over time condition on the Pokemon, the same is inflicted on that opponent. The ability goes on cooldown after it's triggered. Absol. Super Luck. Increases the Pokemon's critical hit rate. Garchomp. Rough Skin. When the Pokemon is struck by a melee attack, a portion of the damage received is reflected back at the attacker. Lucario. Steadfast. When the Pokemon is at low HP, it is granted a shield and its movement speed is increased. Crustle. Sturdy. Every time the Pokemon loses a certain amount of HP, its defense and special defense are increased. Greninja. Torrent. When the Pokemon is at half HP or less, its attack and movement speed are increased. Talonflame. Gale Wings. When the Pokemon is at high HP, its movement speed is increased. Zeraora. Volt Absorb. The Pokemon gains an electric charge whenever it receives damage, converting a portion of that damage into additional attack. Cinderace. Blaze. When the Pokemon uses a move, its next basic attack becomes a boosted attack. When the Pokemon hits an opposing Pokemon with a basic attack or move, a Cinder is placed on that opposing Pokemon. Attacking a Cindered opposing Pokemon a certain number of times will cause the Cinder to flare, dealing damage to the opposing Pokemon. When the Pokemon with this ability is at half HP or less, its critical hit rate and basic attack speed are increased for a short time. Eldegoss. Cotton Down. Damages an opponent and decreases its movement speed for a short time after the Pokemon with this ability receives a certain amount of damage. When that happens, the Pokemon also recovers HP and has its movement speed increased for a short time. Cramorant. Gulp Missile. When the Pokemon uses certain moves, it catches some form of prey in its mouth. Afterward, when the Pokemon receives damage, it spits the prey out as a counterattack at an opposing Pokemon. The type of prey and effect differ based upon the user's remaining HP. Ooh, that was tough for me to read, but I read it. All right, here we are at our tier list. So our categories for the passive abilities are so good. More like passive aggressive. I think I meant that in a good way. B, still got B in there. I love you, I'm just not in love with you, and then fine, but kinda whatever. Let's face it, all of these abilities are useful and nice, but some of them feel much better than others. Some feel almost part of the identity of that Pokemon. So I really, really like a lot of these, and you might disagree on where I place some of them. This one is kind of more for fun because a lot of it's just based on the Pokemon I like to play and how well I think those abilities work. Let's get into it. Let's start with someone like, well, you're right at the top here, Absol. Why don't we start with Absol? So Absol's ability is to increase the amount of crits that Absol does. And that's kind of Absol's entire thing is crits. You want to run a scope lens on Absol. You're doing the whole point is that you're getting these huge bursts of damage with Absol. I don't think this is more like passive aggressive. I mean, this kind of makes Absol. Maybe I put it here. It's definitely not so good, I wouldn't say. I'm gonna leave Absol right here for now, only because this passive just feels like if you put this on Pikachu, you'd be scratching your head. But on Absol, this is Absol. So maybe this is more like passive aggressive, which is good in this sense. Let's do another one. How about a newcomer, Blissey? Blissey's ability to remove a status condition is kind of cool, but I actually don't think that is super beneficial in general. It's the nice thing about passives, you don't have to think about it, right? That's great, but I just feel like you're not getting a ton out of this ability. It's either fine but kind of whatever, or I love you, I'm just not in love with you. Right now, I'm just gonna say I love you, I'm just not in love with you. It's good, I like when it happens, but it's nothing you can count on. You're not basing your entire gameplay around it. It doesn't save you in some amazing situations. It's just pretty good. Yeah, pretty good. Let's go with someone like, Eldegoss, another support, why not? So Eldegoss's is really nice because Eldegoss's whole thing is it's really, really hard to take down. If you have a focus band on Eldegoss, they just never seem to drop. Their passive helps with that. So I almost want to put this, maybe I put this in more like passive aggressive just because this just continues to make Eldegoss that un-KOable support whenever it's around. It's really, really nice that it has so many ways to stay alive. This might be B tier. It's hovering right now for me, but I'm gonna leave it in more like passive aggressive. I think this is a really nice passive, while at the same time, you're not really thinking about it ever, which you're not with most of these. Okay, let's talk about our first fine, but kind of whatever, is gonna be Talonflame. So Talonflame's where you need to be at high health to have increased damage. Oh wait, it's not movement speed, is it? Now for a second here, I feel like I'm losing my mind. It's damage, right? On Talonflame, I just read all these, and I even ranked them on another screen. But now my brain is going, no, Jake, you're getting this wrong. Hold on. No, wow, I'm getting it even more wrong. Yeah, it's when it's at high HP, its movement speed is increased. Now I know why it's fine, but kind of whatever. Get out of here. This ability is no good. I don't like this. It works with what Talonflame's all about, but you need high health for your move. No. I don't like it. And I'm gonna say the same with Gengar. When you're out of combat, movement speed is increased. How much time do you want to spend out of combat in this game? You should be farming all the time or fighting enemies all the time. Another fine but kind of whatever move. One thing I do like about both of these is thematically, I think they work very well with the speedsters, but speedsters just have a bit of a problem right now. If you've watched some of my recent videos, you know my opinion on them. So both of these abilities, I would say they're fine, but kind of whatever. Let's go to a so good. Okay, I do think Alolan Ninetales is so good. So the thing about Alolan Ninetales is its entire its best build is completely based around freezing people with its basic attacks, and it's amazing. So I think Dazzling Gleam Aurora Veil is Ninetales' best build. You stun people with Dazzling Gleam when you need to. Inside your Aurora Veil, all of your attacks are boosted attacks, so you're hitting people with huge chunks of ice that splashes to multiple opponents, and you keep doing it, you freeze them. It's just a stun lock, a freeze and a stun and a freeze and a stun. I think this ability is amazing. Not to mention just the little snow that drops from the sky. That's nice and all, but the big part of this ability is being able to freeze opponents. I think it's amazing. I think it is so good. That's so good tier, for sure. Let's see, what's a B tier? What's a B tier? Well, I would say that maybe our friend... No, that one's... Well, I'll do Charizard right now. Charizard is, I love you, I'm just not in love with you. It could almost be down to the fine, but kind of whatever. I could see it teetering into that category. Increased crit rate at lower HP. Okay, not terrible. You could definitely run a scope lens on Charizard because of this, and I don't think that's a bad idea, but I don't know. This isn't the best. I kind of want to move it to fine, but kind of whatever. So the thing I like about it is it's a nice ability that when you are at lower health, you're doing some more damage, so you can trick people and sort of start coming back. But in general, no, I don't think this is a super ideal ability. Who's B tier? Who should be B tier? Well, here's a good one for B tier, Mr. Mime. So Mr. Mime's ability kind of rocks in some ways because after using a move, which you do all the time, you take reduced damage. And, you know, after using your Unite move, you're going to take reduced damage. After putting up your walls, all these situations you're taking reduced damage in, and you're doing that a lot with Mr. Mime. So it just makes you harder and harder to take out. I like Mr. Mime's ability a lot. It's just kind of built into how you play. It's almost teetering into the more like passive aggressive, but I need a B tier. I need a B tier right now. You know what? I might even do this. This is controversial, but this is really happening. Mime is moving up into passive aggressive, and Eldegoss just got moved down to B. I did that. No one can stop me. Next ability. Let's talk about... What am I speaking like? Next ability. It's like almost Dr. Evil-like. Is going to be Snorlax. So Snorlax's ability is a ton of fun. And not only do berries affect you better than with other people, so you get a ton of health from them or movement speed, but also you run faster towards them, so you're able to take opponents' berries. I actually really like this, but let's face it, berries aren't that impactful inside the game. This is a cool ability, but I have to put this into the I love you, I'm just not in love with you. It's one of my favorite things about Snorlax, but it's not a game-changing thing like the amount of damage and control you do with Alolan Ninetales. Let's take another defender. Why not? Crustle. Crustle or Crustle? I'll never get it right. And every time I ask for the pronunciation, everyone goes back and forth. So who knows? This ability is really nice because as your health starts to get lower, you become harder and harder to take out. You pair that with a Focus Band, you pair that with a Buddy Barrier, you pair that with Crustle's Unite move, and Crustle becomes really beefy and deceptively strong. I like when people think there's a KO there and there's not a KO there. So right now this is either B or more like passive aggressive. I like it more than Eldegoss's. They're both kind of similar, so I'm gonna let them hang out in B for now. I hope you guys enjoy it right there in B. Cinderace. Cinderace. This is a tough one because I kind of think it's also so good. Just so much of Cinderace's kit is built around everything that happens in here. The cinder damage, the increased crit, the movement speed. It feels like it's all based around it. Right now I think I'm gonna leave it at the top of more like passive aggressive. I might move it all the way to so good. It's probably so good. It's probably so good. I'm gonna think about you for a moment, Cinderace, but the only thing I think that stops it from being so good is it only does damage, which is Cinderace's whole job. But it's really about just doing a ton of damage. Maybe it's so good. It's pretty dang good, let's be honest. Cramorant's a weird one. I don't really know what to say about this ability, but I like it. It just feels like it's, you know, it's part of its boosted attack, and it's cool when you pick up Pikachus and shoot them. But this one's just so weird. I have to leave it in B. It is good, but I find it even hard to... It's just part of its boosted, right? So what do I say except I really like shooting those Arrokudas at people, but it's also feels like it's just its boosted attack. I don't know. This is such a weird one. Cramorant's probably my favorite Pokemon to play right now. And lately I've been doing really well in some of the higher ranked games with Cramorant because just all that CC is amazing. I love Cram, but I have to leave this ability in B right now. I don't even know what to say about this ability. Let's go with fine but kind of whatever is Pikachu. Nice. Static is nice. A little paralyzing people around you, but it's not that big of a deal. You never think about it, and every once in a while it happens, and that's kind of cool, but it's pretty, you know, it's not very noticeable, not very useful as you get later into the game. I would say it's fine, but kind of whatever. It's nice that you never think about it like a lot of the passives here, but I don't know. Who cares? I don't even feel like I get saved that often by it. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I think I'm playing really well and my passive is just saving everything for me. Here's one that I wish was better, and that's Garchomp. So Garchomp's ability to reflect melee damage is pretty awesome, but it just doesn't seem that strong. This ability, however, is how you see Garchomp solo multiple people, and they're all confused by it. First off, Garchomp's lifesteal, Garchomp's attack going crazy. Garchomp is so good at soloing multiple people because I think they just don't expect it has that much staying power. And if you're going up against people who are melee, they're also hurting themselves by hurting you with basics. So while I really like this, I kind of feel like I love you, I'm just not in love with you. I think there's a world where this is actually a lot better and it feels super overpowered. Right now, it's just good. But there are plenty of times where it's not useful at all, I guess. So that's why I have to put it in this category. Gardevoir. Gardevoir. What do we say about Gardevoir? Gardevoir's ability to kind of take a damage over time or hindrance or whatever and throw it back on the person who put it. It's kind of cool, but it's just so... It reminds me of Pikachu's. It's not that useful in general. Like, okay, you throw it back on them a little bit from time to time. As with all passives, it's great. You don't have to think about it, but I'm also putting this in the fine but kind of whatever camp. Don't get me wrong. Cool. Cool that it happens, but it's nothing that you think about. Some of these are things that you almost base the entire character's play style around at times. And that's just kind of, okay, cool, okay. I'm going to take Lucario here. I'll talk about Lucario. Lucario's shield and movement speed mixed with a focus band is just, it makes Lucario sort of an unkillable person in many situations. You're able to get out of super crazy moments because of this move. So I am going to have to say Lucario's is so good. It's so good. I know it's kind of minor, but it feels like, and maybe it doesn't matter if you don't have focus band, but if you have a focus band and you have this move, it just feels like you get chunked down. They chunk Lucario down, and all of a sudden he has a shield and he's back with a ton of life, and he's coming back with another power-up punch. So I feel like that puts this passive into the so good category. Let's talk about another one that's so good. Wait, maybe we can wait. Well, we got a few that are so good. Let's talk about Slowbro. So Slowbro's, I think, is deceptively so good. If you can manage Slowbro's health, I think you're in such an incredible place. Your health gets chunked down with that bar. As I read to you earlier, this is that blue bar that you see on Slowbro's health. But if Slowbro is doing damage, essentially with Surf, I guess some people could run Scald on it for this reason. But if you're doing damage, you're mitigating some of that HP loss. So you're not even getting hit for as much as you're getting hit for, essentially. It just turns you into a real tank, and I think because of that, this is one of the better passives in the game. If you know what's going on with it, and you know how to use it, and you know that you can go toe-to-toe for a long time because of abilities like this, yeah, I think it's really, really legit. In fact, that's kind of a good reason to run Scald because of the low cooldown. So hey, there you go. The other thing you can do with this ability, by the way, is you can pick people up with telekinesis and hold them there long enough to hopefully get Surf back up, use Surf again. So you just continue mitigating damage, and it feels like you're around forever. Let's talk about Machamp. Machamp's is kind of weird. When you're inflicted with a status condition, you get increased attack speed. So realistically, in team fights, this is going to happen to you. You're going to be inflicted with status conditions, and you're going to gain attack because of it. This, to me, though, still, it teeters down into the I love you, I'm just not in love with you category. It's probably better than some of these on here, and I don't really need to rank everyone inside here, because Snorlax's is the funnest, but probably the worst. Maybe this is one of the better ones, because it is happening in team fights, and you become more and more powerful, but still, it's just nice. It's a nice bonus, but it's not, you're never going to intentionally get a status condition to increase your attack. It's just a cool thing that happens inside a battle. So I do like it. It might kind of teeter into B, but right now I would just say, I love you. I'm just not in love with you. Okay, let's see here. Where do we put Greninja? Where do we put Greninja? Greninja's is great. Movement speed increase, damage increase. It's really, really nice. But I feel like it does hang out in B. It might hang out in passive aggressive because you get pretty aggressive with it. But I don't know if this is Greninja's bread and butter here. I would rather not be low health with Greninja, but then again, you're low health and then you KO with a Surf and you get some health back. You know what? I'm moving this to passive aggressive because this just helps that Greninja make those crazy moments happen. You know, the lower they take you, the more formidable you are with damage and movement speed, so you're able to position yourself and get those Surfs. So I'm going to move it up to more like passive aggressive. Okay, 3 more. Venusaur, Wiggly, and Zera. Venusaur is okay. I just think it's fine. It might be I love you, I'm not in love with you tier. I don't know. It's not great. The thing about Venusaur is when Venusaur is really low health, it's probably because people are chunking you down and then you're in trouble. If you can stay on the back line at low health, that's great. But if you can't, I don't know. Which category do you go in, Venusaur? I can't believe I'm doing this. I think I'm going to leave it B for now. I can't believe I just did that. Boy, I'm going to be thinking about that one on the car ride home. That's for sure. Okay. Zeraora. Zeraora is fine. It's fine. I don't even, I don't know enough about it. I'm going to be honest with you here. I never consider this at all. So, yeah. Is it B? I don't know. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. I'm going to put it in I love you. No, I don't know. I don't know where to put this Pokemon right now because I'm not sure how amazing it is, but I do know there are those moments where Zeraora feels outnumbered, but they put down their discharge. Gross, I agree. And they end up fighting off multiple people. I'm going to leave it B just because I think this is probably part of why Zeraora crushes in some of those moments. But if I'm being honest, I don't really fully know the effects of Zeraora's ability. I'm not sure. Wigglytuff. Our final Pokemon is Wigglytuff, and you know what? I kind of think Wigglytuff's got the best passive in the game. I could be wrong here. It's probably not the best, but I actually do think it's probably my favorite passive in the game. When you're in lane and someone hits you or you're coming close to them and they're just kind of attacking you as they're retreating, but then they can't because they're charmed by you and they pull closer to you and your ally's able to get them. I think Wigglytuff's passive is so good. It's my favorite passive in the game. I think it's really, really amazing. Wigglytuff is just, Wigglytuff is great. I'm so glad they buffed Wigglytuff. I say this all the time, but I'm so happy that Wigglytuff got a buff because it needed it, and now it's just so, so good. All right. And even Jake number 4 understands. It's always fun to swap things around and see if someone just skips to the end. Okay, let's see. Da 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 da. This is a song. I made it up. I made up this song. It should be on a soundtrack to a movie. So without question, Lucario's is the best. Just being able to get that shield, that health, amazing. But don't forget about Pikachu. its ability to paralyze people who come in at you, this is why you never see a Pikachu get KO'd. Have you ever seen a Pikachu get KO'd in a match? I've never seen it. The only abilities that almost make it into so good but don't quite do it are Talonflame, of course. The ability to move faster when you have more health. When in the game aren't you at full health? I'm at full health all the time. If I get hit by anything, I just recall, go back to base, and then come back. Boom, I'm at full health, and I have this incredible amount of movement speed here. Oh, and I'm realizing I put something in the wrong area here. Charizard should be in the so good category. That was a big mistake on my part. When your health is low, your crits go up. Charizard's whole kit is crits. It's a kit crit, a crit kit, if you will. So you want to make sure that Charizard is always below 50% health. Talonflame, get hit once, back to base. Charizard, stay below 50% health the whole time. Keep those crits up. And then when it's time, pop your Unite move, attack them. But make sure you stay there, and make sure you stay there with low health. I want to be in battles with Charizard where basically 1 or 2 hits will take me out. That way I am constantly hitting with critical hits. I think those are some of the big things there. And then Wigglytuff can move down 1 category. Charming people, who cares? And Garchomp, now that I'm looking at it, can probably move up. Just the ability for someone to melee attack Garchomp and it reflects so much damage. It reflects more than you expect. That ability is pretty incredible. But I think that's about where this plays out. So there you go. Let me know what you think in the comments. Again, obviously, Charizard, one of the best, right up there with someone like Pikachu, but none of them take out Lucario. So thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. I will see you all next time. Mwah!